Hello, my name is Julie Womack. I am the head of organizing for Red, Wine, and Blue. Super excited to have so many of you here with us tonight for our launch in Virginia. I was actually really thrilled. I got to come down to Virginia in 2021, and I met so many like badass, amazing women who were just out there doing the work, trying to make a difference in their communities. So I am thrilled that I'm going to get the chance to hang out with them again and hopefully meet a lot more of you as we all come together and get super involved with Red, Wine, and Blue. So for those who may be new to the organization or don't know a lot about our background, I just want to kind of tell you how we got started. And then we're going to kick it over to our new staff in Virginia so you can meet them. I also want you to meet some amazing women who we have worked with already in your state and hear their stories and, what they've been doing. So, you can get a little bit more feel for the organization. But Red, Wine, and Blue was started in 2019 by Katie Paris. Now, Katie's been working in politics her entire career, but she's also a suburban mom outside of Cleveland. And what she realized in 2018, 2019 was that, hey, suburban women are going to be a force in politics. So many of us got involved after the 2016 election, me included. We were in our suburbs, we were organizing, we were calling elected officials for the very first time. We were paying attention to what was going on at our state houses. And so Katie saw all this energy happening and she was like, you know what, we need to keep this going. And we need to have a place where women can come together who are doing this work and get the tools and resources they need to be super successful at it. And that was how Red, Wine, and Blue started. So we did start in Ohio. We quickly became a national group. We took over a Facebook group called Suburban Housewives Against Trump that another woman had started, and it grew really rapidly. That is now our national Facebook sweep, Suburban Women Engaged, Empowered, and Pissed. There are 220,000 women in there, so every state is represented. And then we were really blessed that we were able to start expanding. So we hired staff in North Carolina and Pennsylvania and Michigan, and we have suburban moms, women living in the suburbs on the ground, organizing their friends, doing this work. And now, super excited to expand officially into Virginia and welcome all of you into the fold here. So the momentum that Katie saw back in 2019 that caused her to start Red, Wine, and Blue really has not stopped. Okay, so many of us, like myself, got activated because of the 2016 election. But you know what? There are a lot of women who just started seeing things happening that they didn't like book bans at their school board or attacks on LGBTQ plus youth. A lot of people, the Dobbs decision, right? I mean, that just set off a whole plethora of people who did not like what was happening in the country. So we have just seen growing and growing and growing. And we now have a network of 500,000 women. So excited to keep expanding, especially in the state of Virginia. And what I love about Red, Wine, and Blue is that everybody is welcome here. Okay, so whether you have been a longtime activist, you've been marching since you were a teenager and now you're in your 70s, or whether maybe this is the first thing you've ever gone to that's like somewhat political of a meeting, you're welcome. Brand new, we want you here. So maybe you have friends out there who don't like the book banning or what's going on at their school boards or what's going on with reproductive rights. Invite them in, okay? We are really trying to be a non-threatening on-ramp to politics for people who maybe haven't been political before. And you don't need to know how your legislature works. You don't have to be an expert on policy. You don't know how to be, you don't have to know like the ins and outs of advocacy. What you will find here is a supportive community where you can find other people who feel like you, who share your values, where you can learn, you can educate yourself, and you can have fun, right? Because making change in your community, electing people who share our values is hard work. So you got to make it fun. You got to meet other people. You got to make friends. You got to build a community around it. And that's what Red, Wine, and Blue is all about. And let me let you in on a little secret. So I know some of you have already done work for candidates. You're knocking doors, you're raising money. That is great. They definitely need your help with that. But one of the most effective things that you can actually do is something you can do right from your couch. It's called relational organizing. And all it really means is that you are the one texting and talking to your friends about turning out to vote. And that is a big thing that we do at Red, Wine, and Blue. And we are going to help you do that and help you be super effective at it. We have a really cool tool called Rally, which is an online tool. There's no app or anything you have to download. And we are going to be launching that really soon. It's a place that you can kind of track conversations. We'll give you like stuff to share, ways to start conversations. We'll teach you how to have those conversations. And it's not just a couple of us doing this. This is going to be a huge team across Virginia doing this. And you're going to be able to see the impact, how many conversations we're having. So we are calling it Rally Your Squad, which I personally think is just the cutest name ever. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about it as we go through this program tonight. But we're going to be dropping links if you want to get more information about this. You can learn what we're doing and how you can get involved. So just kind of keep watching the chat for that. And now, you guys, I want to introduce the woman of the hour, your new program director in Virginia. We honestly could not have found a better person to lead down there. I want you guys to hear her background. Penny Blue. She was a school board member in Franklin County, and she has also helped other candidates with their campaign. So she's well versed in this. She owned her own consulting firm. She was a former exec at IBM. She also was a math teacher, a college professor, and in her spare time, you guys, she just happened to write a book. So honestly, like I said, super impressive. So happy to have her there in Virginia. And I'm going to kick it over to Penny now.
Good evening, fellow ladies of the Commonwealth. We are here, we are excited, and we are ready to help make good trouble in the Commonwealth. I think this has been the perfect time for Red, Wine, and Blue for us to come to the state of Virginia, because the entire state Senate and the entire House of Delegates is up for election. So yes, 40 Senate seats and 100 House of Delegates seats are on the ballot in November. But let's talk about what is really on the ballot in November. Women's health care and our right to choose is on the ballot. We remain the least restrictive state in the South only because of the Senate brick wall. So women are actually coming to Virginia for their health care. Our public schools are on the ballot. I'm certain many of you have heard about the budget debate, where the governor wants to give tax cuts to businesses and the Democrats want to give additional monies to the school system, and our right to parent and book banning and the bullying of our children in the school system. Diversity is on the ballot. Gun safety is on the ballot. Voting rights is on the ballot. In other words, our first-class citizenship and democracy is on the ballot in November. And we are a bellwether state. So goes Virginia, so goes the nation. All eyes are on Virginia. But ladies, we got this. The women of Virginia will ensure that we maintain the majority in the Senate and take back the House. And this time, when we win, 50% of our candidates for Senate and 50% of our candidates for the House are women. How cool is that? Women sending women to Richmond. So how do we do this? Woman to woman, friend to friend. Relational organizing. It is what we do best. Relational organizing has proven to be 2.5 times more effective than conversations with strangers, and 10 times more effective than door knocking. So yes, these things are important, but we have a special lane to fill. So I'm sure you're saying, tell me something that I don't already know. To show that we are serious, our Red, Wine, and Blue is serious about making trouble in Virginia, I am in the process of hiring get out to vote organizers all across the state to help us rally the troops. So if you're interested in joining our team and helping us to rally the troops, please go to our website, the Red, Wine, and Blue Virginia website, and we're going to drop a link in the chat so that you can go directly to it. And so once you read the job description, if this sounds like you, please apply. So now we have a special treat for you. We have a couple of guests. First, we have Nicole Sperry. She lives in Norfolk and is an elementary school teacher. Nicole became active after losing her 10-year-old daughter to COVID in 2021. Since then, she has found her voice and has been causing good trouble in her community. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you. Suffolk, Virginia. I am a wife, a mother, a daughter, an aunt, a godmother, a friend, a teacher, and I'm an advocate. I became more active and more vocal about politics after losing my 10-year-old daughter to COVID in September 21, just short of a month of the vaccine being approved for kids. What my trigger was that got me started was when I was sitting next to her in the PICU, I had found out that there was a parent speaking at the school board meeting where I teach in, and they said, healthy kids don't die from COVID. And that triggered something in me. And I knew that I wanted to speak at the next school board meeting and address that and the misconceptions and the misinformation that was being spread. And I signed up for that one. And then the school district meeting for where my kids go, I signed up for one of those because I was watching one of the meetings and people were spreading tons of misinformation. And I researched everything they said, signed up, and addressed everything with the facts provided that I found. And I also addressed the school board about the lies that they provided in regards to the days leading up to my daughter contracting COVID and ultimately passing away. I am thankful that I've been able to contribute to Red, Wine, and Blue. I've appeared in a couple of the podcasts for the Suburban Women Problem, as well as participating in advertisement for the 2021 gubernatorial election. I've also been an advocate since Teresa for vaccine preventable diseases. And I even was able to go to DC to help read off the names of loved ones that we've lost to COVID. I've learned that I can't be quiet about my views anymore. I was quiet, didn't want to cause any trouble. And that changed when the doctor told me her heart stopped. Red, Wine, and Blue gives us the opportunity to stand up and say that the extremist groups don't speak for us. We're not alone. And if you're not ready to speak out like I've been speaking out, it's not a problem. There are plenty of things that can be done to cause a little good trouble. Let's show the Commonwealth of Virginia and Washington, D.C. that we stand together. Thank you.
Nicole, thank you so much for sharing your story and being a good troublemaker. Thank you.
Anytime.
And next, we're going to have Jessica Berg. But I want to share with you that once Jessica shares her story, the next voice that you hear will be our Deputy Director of Virginia. And she's going to share with you how we plan to rally the troops in Virginia. Now, Jessica is a high school teacher in Loudoun County. Jessica created and wrote the curriculum for Women and Gender Studies course that was the first of its kind in Loudoun. As an English and Women and Gender Studies teacher, she experienced extremism in our schools firsthand.
Thank you. I want to thank you all so much for having me on tonight. As a parent, a teacher, an activist, and lifelong Virginia resident, I am so thrilled to have a Red, Wine, and Blue presence here. I first came to know of the extraordinary work these women do when they reached out asking me to come on their podcast. And I believe Nicole and I were actually on a podcast together to speak specifically to the issue of banned books. And as a teacher going into my 13th year, this is at the core of what I care so passionately about, and maybe somewhat naively, that education really can be that cornerstone in changing the world for the better and building those bridges. And I can't believe we still have to battle these issues in the 21st century, but here we are. And then that is where organizations like Red, Wine, and Blue come in. And since that first collaboration, they have been monumental in putting this issue, amongst others, on a national stage, which is critical because we all know that what is happening at the local level, in our schools, at our school board meetings, it's a part of this broader fascist agenda that has been taking hold here in Virginia and throughout the United States. And through their work, they connected me with Representative Jamie Raskin, and I had the honor of testifying at a congressional subcommittee hearing on censorship and academic free speech. And that was so important to me, to be able to be a voice when so many of my fellow educators feel silenced by all of the hateful rhetoric being spewed, and also being a voice for my students who are not immune from what is going on in these broader cultural wars. And it is affecting them. And so the type of activism and organizing that Red, Wine, and Blue is going to bring to Virginia and to our communities is just so absolutely invaluable to be able to give us this voice and this broader movement behind it. You know, we all know the way to combat this radicalism is with on the ground community organizations. And Red, Wine, and Blue is so amazing at harnessing that power and the vote of parents just like me who don't want their children to grow up in a bigoted and hateful world. You know, all this talk about parental rights. I have parental rights. You all have parental rights. Our right for our children to have access to all this information and all these books. And that's how we know it's powerful, when they're trying to take that away. And I'm also so happy to have the just energy of Red, Wine, and Blue, because in Virginia, I know we always joke that we love democracy so much we have an election, sometimes multiple, every year. And those of you who work in grassroots and try to get out that vote, it can sometimes be daunting and exhausting because people are like, what, there's another election and you just vote. And so this surge of energy and woman power and getting just one more person, one neighbor, one woman, one neighborhood, one suburb to get out and vote and harness our power, we are greater in number. You know, the other side, the radical right, they seem like they're powerful in a lot because they are so loud, but they are small-minded and small in number. And so I just hope you all remember that. Again, as Julie said, if this is your first foray into activism and using your voice, we are all here. We're in this together. And I am just so unbelievably thrilled to have a Red, Wine, and Blue presence here in Virginia. So welcome. We are happy to have you.
Thank you so much, Jessica. It is amazing to hear your journey and your perspective. I watched from afar what was happening in 2021. And for those of you that were on the ground, I just thank you and applaud you because you helped bring the awareness to the rest of us. And, you know, we were able to be on offense for once and just helped us learn how to amplify the message. So thank you again. And hi, everyone. So excited to see all of the Virginia women tonight. I'm Laura Beery. I am the Deputy Director for Red, Wine, and Blue Virginia. I'm your average suburban mom, just juggling life like everyone else. Sometimes I do a decent job, you know, sometimes not so well, and I'm sure everyone can relate to that. But I have not been steeped in politics my entire life, but in all aspects of life, it's a constant learning experience. I believe we're all teachers and students at the same time, which is what's so energizing about being in this together, no matter what our level of engagement has been in the past or what it will be in the future. So the local relational organizing is such a key component to being effective in getting the accurate information into all the noise around us and making sense out of the absurd. I mean, all of us know, like in our guts, what's true and rational. But when there's so much chaos, it creates all that doubt and hesitation. And then that just brings more noise in. I always think about this when I argue with my son. He's 9 years old. And hopefully you can relate to this because it's exhausting. But he so passionately doubles down on his arguments that by the end of it, I'm always like, well, one, I'm impressed with the amount of energy that you just put into this. Maybe we can channel that into, you know, something a tiny bit more productive. But two, you literally sounded so convincing that you had me doubting my sanity for a few seconds. And with things like that, and most things, you know, in our life, when that happens, we need to take that breather just to cut through all the noise and get back to the common sense and back to just the root of what we all care about, which is so much. Obviously, we care about so many things, but it ultimately just boils back down to our families and by extension, our communities. So if you're like me and you face problems, it's like, great, okay, how do we fix it? And so surrounding yourself with other people who are working on fixing the same problems, that seems to be the easiest and most effective. So that's us, we're your people. And we can help you get started to re-energize or just re-engage, or even if you've been doing the hard work for a long time, we're just here to constantly give you that support. And thankfully, there are so many ways that you can work with us, and we can help fill in the gaps so that everybody is marching together, you know, sort of utilizing our unique skill sets and what personally motivates us. So the information is power, the education is power. So along with all the trainings and tools and the support of each other to constantly keep things in motion, it is how we are going to continue to rally our squad. It's how we're going to continue to keep our energy up. And it's how we're going to continue to have fun while we're doing it. Because we don't want to drain what little energy we all have anyway. I mean, all of us suburban women, you know, we're already drained with life. So sometimes it feels like, how can we add one more thing in there? But we believe that empowering each other is the ultimate energy booster. And we want to be a part of your lives. We want you to be a part of ours. We make friends through all sorts of common interests and goals throughout our life. So why not activism too? So with all of us being problem solvers and all of us bringing our perspectives and the things we're good at, absolutely everything we enjoy or excel at can be applied to activism, because whether we know it or not, we're sort of these like naturally, organically walking through life as activists in some form or another. Every conversation we have, it's influencing people. So we're going to bring all of this and our talents together for a common purpose, which I think is a kind of just like this void that we fill in all of the other important things to do to make change. And this seems, I know it speaks to me, and I hope it speaks to all of you as well. So anyway, what are these tools and trainings that we speak of? So I'm going to keep talking as I share my screen, and we can go through this together. But as far as tools, not only do we have the events, like the online events that you're on right now, but we also have many in-person events, lots of ways that you can engage. But even tonight, and thank you all again for being here, is just the tip of the iceberg, because our menu of engagement is so vast and it's growing bigger all the time. But we need to be able to keep you in the loop. So if you haven't already joined our community on Facebook, I encourage you to do that. It acts as our town square and seems to be the easiest way to be able to get the information out to all of you. Not that it's the only way we, get information to you, but it's also a way for you to find, other women who live near you, and also community feedback, which is key, because as we are all in this together, everybody has ideas, and there's some great feedback that we can bounce off of each other. So like I said, the link will be in the chat. And also, Julie sort of previewed this a little bit, but since all eyes are on Virginia, I get the chance to introduce you to our relational organizing tool, Rally Your Squad. And this will help you make the most impact on the people you already know. So when we talk about relational organizing or friend-to-friend organizing, this is just such a key step in being able to talk to the contacts that we have already made, and also be able to build this relationship. Like, you won't be hitting them just right before an election when they're getting hit from all other aspects of their life. You're able to start now. You're able to input the people that you know. When you're going through the process, you'll all of a sudden, think of people that you haven't thought of in the past, which will generate that, those conversations that you'll start to have with each other, and be able to provide them with the information. You can cut through that noise and misinformation, and you can let them know exactly, what's happening out there in case they're not paying as much attention. And, by all means, people shouldn't have to pay as much attention as we do in this day and age. So this screen with the QR code, what you can do to get started, and I encourage everybody to do this because this is probably going to be the most effective way that you're going to be able to get information out on a regular basis. And it's going to be non-threatening. It's going to be just very conversational, and it's going to be able to open up the avenues so that you're able to stay in touch with them. It is just so simple. I can't wait for everybody to go through it to see how easy it is, just to have, it sort of takes away like the, oh, what do I have to tell them today? That type of thing. We walk you through it step by step. So go ahead and scan the QR code and get started. There should also be a link if you aren't a QR code scanner, which sometimes my phone doesn't really like to do that. So go ahead and click on the link in the chat, and we can get you started in this right away and offer further training on it. So like I said, definitely want you to get involved in this. If you have any questions, just let us know, and we will give you all the information you can. And we are actually going to head out into breakout rooms so we can get to know each other better. And these are always so much, I love doing this. It's always so much fun. So while we're getting set up to go into breakout rooms, I want you to think of two things, very, very simple things. Just let us know in the breakout rooms why you, or what brought you here to the event tonight, or what brought you to Red Wine and Blue. And then we can start the conversations and get to know each other. And I think that's it. And I'm just going to reiterate real quick what Penny said, because we are so excited to hire people on to help us out. So if you want to join this dynamic woman-led team, please go to the link, or if you know anybody who you think would be interested in joining us, go ahead and do that. So anyway, I just want to say thank you. Thank you again for everyone who spoke tonight and shared your journeys with us. Thank you again.